This is the Big Fish Cares Podcast. Big Fish Cares Podcast. And here's your host, Benny Fisher.
Today's guest is really cool, in my opinion. He's probably my most popular friend on social media. We have Alex Stemp today with us. He's got 19.7 million. Yes, I said million, not thousand. 19.7 million followers on his TikTok channel. Welcome to the show, Alex. How are you doing, man?
Doing great overall. Just won the fight against COVID, so that was fun. But trying to get back into the swing of things here, and trying to get back into the groove of things.
Well, the good thing is I saw you were still able to get out some content that you had pre-recorded from VCon. We'll cover that a little bit, but let's talk a little bit about who Alex is. And, obviously, TikTok's only been around for a few years, and you're obviously older than a few years old. So what were you doing before you became, famous on TikTok?
I was working as an insurance actuary for that. So, not a lot of people know what that is, so I'll explain that real quick. Insurance actuaries, if you've ever seen Along Came Polly, there was actually Ben Stiller was an actuary in that movie. And what they do is they analyze risk for insurance policies. So anytime someone buys insurance, the insurance company has to figure out how much should they charge that person for their insurance. And an actuary will come up with algorithms and look at a bunch of statistics and numbers to figure out what the appropriate price is to charge a risk for their insurance. So it's like a very, very niche field. Not a lot of actuaries, but every single insurance company hires actuaries to exactly help them with that problem. How do we figure out how much to charge each person? Or sometimes it's not a person. Sometimes, you get insurance for your house, insurance for your car, whatever it is. That's what I was doing in my past life. 9 to 5 insurance actuary.
Where did you grow up? Tell me what your parents did for a living. How were you in high school and said, "Oh, I want to be an insurance actuary guy"? Like, how does that work?
I grew up in California, so I'm a California guy. Northern California, so near San Francisco. Parents are they're immigrant. I have immigrant parents, so my dad is from Poland, my mom's from El Salvador. So I grew up raised by people that were not from here, and I grew up in a very diverse city. So like white people were the minority where I was from. And a lot of my friends were, from all across the world. So I think that might feed into kind of my content. My content is very try to feature all walks of life. And I didn't grow up wanting to be an insurance actuary. I've always loved photography. Sorry, someone was calling me. I've always loved photography, but I never wanted to be a photographer really, and I kind of wanted to be an architect when I was little. That was kind of my dream job. I don't really know why.
What'd your parents do for like a job or a career?
So my dad was an aircraft inspector for United Airlines.
Okay.
And my mom was like a nanny. So growing up, my dad got me free flights basically anywhere.
That's cool. So you got to kind of see that kind of a fun life, I bet. And then I'm sure college was a big deal for them to be able to like send you to college, or you go to college. And where'd you go to college at?
UC Santa Barbara.
All right. Was that, did you go for the fun experience of college, or did you actually go to like, I'm going to leave here with like something I can, go get a big time job with? Or what was the mindset behind college?
I think the mindset was programming, like, probably your generation too. Like we're programmed to think that that's how you get through life. You go to high school, and then you go to college, and then you get a career. It's just like that was just my programming. So I was just walking the path that society kind of created for everyone. And I chose Santa Barbara because I like the beach.
Yeah.
That was simple.
And did you notice he said my generation? So that means I'm old. How old are you, Alex?
Actually, we're probably not far apart in age. I'm 32.
I'm 40. I'll be 41. So okay. I'm just saying, when you said that, I was like, oh boy, I'm like definitely old. Feeling the old thing.
Gary would disagree.
Well, no, of course. Oh, we're babies. 55 years old. I'm a baby. I still got plenty of time to go. Our boy Gary V. We'll talk about him here in a little bit. So that's interesting. So you go there, you get your degree, you get out of college, you go get a job, right? And then tell us a little bit about the journey from going from insurance actuary to do what you're doing now, which is really, make a name for yourself on TikTok.
Yeah, speaking of the devil, Gary V, so I found Gary. So I guess the journey went college, studied statistics. I was good at math. Chose actuary because they pay very well, and I'm good at like statistics and math. So it just made sense. So working that 9 to 5, salary's decent, 6-figure salary and all that. Didn't love it though, and I remember finding Gary V on my walk to my office. Actually, I found Gary V, and he's talking about social media. He's talking about how you can turn your passion into a profession using social media. I didn't even use social media. I had an Instagram with 20 followers, complete nobody in terms of like social media reach. And I kind of got really curious about what this guy Gary V was talking about. So he kind of introduced me to social media. Yeah, from I guess a business perspective.
So at that point, you're doing your actuary job. Did you start participating in social media a little bit more? Did you start trying to find more friends on Instagram? Did you start asking some of your college buddies, some of your work buddies about how do you go from no social media to bridge the gap to where then you start doing the photography thing, and then tell me about how that works? Because there's a lot of people at home thinking how the heck does this guy go from being an insurance actuary? It's not like you're Kim Kardashian, his boyfriend or something. You're just a guy working a regular job, a regular guy working a regular job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's been, my life has changed quite a lot looking back just 3 years ago. Cause like I said, I had 0 followers, essentially. No one knew who the hell I was. Now I've got 20 million followers. So the way that started was by kind of deciding one day to go for it. So, I bought a camera cause I needed a hobby. I was bored out of my mind. Being an actuary is really boring. So I bought a camera to just have a new hobby. And then the day I got my camera, I remember Gary V talking about social media. So I'm like, I'm going to try it. This guy's talking a lot about this. I'm just going to try it. Why not? So I commit the day I got my camera to trying out social media. So I made an Instagram page and I posted a photo every single day, starting from the day that I got my camera. Every single day I just posted one of my photos.
What kind of photos did you take? Did you take pictures of food? Did you take pictures of people, landscapes?
So I've always done portraits, pictures of people. That's just photography I wanted to learn. So I got on Instagram, posted a photo the day I got my camera. I posted a photo. I went outside, took a picture of some strangers walking around, posted a photo, and then I didn't stop for 6 months. I posted every single day, pictures of people, portraits. And in the meantime, I'm really trying to improve my skills as a photographer. I'm taking courses, I'm hiring people to teach me, going to workshops, buying editing tutorials. And in 6 months, I think I had gained maybe 5,000 to 10,000 Instagram followers just from steadily posting content every single day. Because Gary V programmed in my head, content. So the two words that were always ringing in my head from Gary Vee were content and then value. So I would post content religiously, consistently. And then the second thing was value. So I tried to like do a little bit more than just post content. I would go on my story. I would help people out. I would essentially kind of mimic what Gary Vee was doing. Like he would take time to teach his followers and his audience about stuff. So I'm like, okay, I know a little bit about photography, a little bit about Instagram now. So let me go on my story and help some people out. So yeah, those two words were essentially the only pieces of social media advice that I followed. And that was enough to get me to, 10,000 Instagram followers. Was just content, post a lot of content and provide value. And value could be helping people, but value is also just making high quality content because, entertainment has value to it. So you create content that's entertaining or enjoyable, that's value as well.
So you're still working at the actuary job. You're getting to know your camera. You've taken photos for 6 months. You've invested in yourself because it sounds like, courses, workshops, trainings, it's like you're hyper focused on, it's like you get out of your 9 to 5 and I'm assuming that you just go all the way into the photography world. And by the way, when you post a picture on Instagram, did you put copy with it? Did you write a nice caption, use hashtags? How do you get people just to start finding you?
Well, so being an actuary, I learned from that job how to kind of analyze patterns and data. So my approach to figuring out Instagram was to look at how other photographers were growing followers fast, and then to kind of try to backwards engineer it. So what I did was I found some of the fastest growing photographers, and then I very meticulously studied what they were doing. And I got really obsessive over what's the roadmap? What's the strategy here for photographers? And so what I did was I found the photographers that hit 10K the quickest. I looked back and I observed every single post from the start of their account. And I looked at everything. What hashtags were they using? How were they editing their photos? What were they writing in the captions? How many comments were they getting? I looked at every possible detail and piece of data that I could find. And what was interesting was the single most common factor across all those accounts that were growing the fastest were that all of them were posting every single day. And so I was like, okay, that's got to be a super, super critical factor to growing your Instagram account, because all of them that have made it to 10K were posting every day, no skips, no skips. And so I was like, okay, that's got to be really important. And so, I used hashtags because, that's just part of Instagram. I don't know how helpful that was. And then, captions, I would try to write captions to kind of engage my audience and get them to leave a comment. Basically, that was the goal of caption, is get them to comment something, because that might help with the algorithm. And most importantly, it was posting a photo every single day. And sure enough, once I started doing that, I started noticing that I would hit the explore page on some of my posts. And when you hit the explore page on an Instagram post, you get a lot of visibility there. And that's how you can gain a lot of followers. The Instagram explore feed is essentially a billboard for a potential billboard, if you can get on there, for your Instagram page. So if you can get on the explore page, then you can reach a lot of new potential followers. And what I noticed was, by posting every day, I was hitting the explore page more and more and more. And then from there, I started to get a little bit deeper into the analytics, the analysis of it all. And what I did was I looked at on Instagram, you can look at which posts are gaining you the most followers. So I looked at, I've been posting every day, so now I've got hundreds of posts to look at data for. So I looked at which of my posts got me the most followers, and I studied the top 9 posts, because some of them, one post that gave me 1,000 followers. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. One photo gave me 1,000 followers. So I thought that by studying what the top photos were that grew my account, I could kind of backwards engineer how to like make a viral photo post. And I figured out that there were like three common sort of traits and characteristics of my viral Instagram photos. And one of them was actually the model that was in the photo. So there were two particular girls that when I would photograph them, they would grow my page very quickly. So that was one piece of the puzzle. The second was, interestingly enough, like the colors that I would use. Really bright and vibrant colors reach more people than photos that had darker colors. And specifically, when I use a blue and yellow color palette, like blue and yellow together, those posts were getting me more followers than other ones. And then there was a third thing, I think, which was, it was either headshots or like full body shots being more viral for me. I forget which one it was. But then at that point, I basically had a recipe, which was shoot one of these models, use blue and orange vibrant colors, blue and yellow, and then do like a headshot. And then every time I did that, I would gain more followers. So I kind of like backwards engineered like how to make my posts go viral.
And then was it like to the point where like you're like, oh wow, so did you, like this girl in these colors in this particular headshot, like did you just keep going back to the well and like just go? I mean, like, did it work like that, or did you have to then continue to like try to figure out ways to like then make that fun and make that more interesting? You know what I mean? Like, did you take it to another level?
Yeah. So the other piece that so yeah, going back to like my initial strategy was content and value. Post a lot of content, try to create value for my audience. Then after that is when I started figuring things out on my own that Gary Vee didn't necessarily talk about. So one of the things that I figured out was it was really important to experiment. So like I essentially had a recipe, a formula for viral photo, but I knew that that would eventually get old and stop working. So I had to experiment with different ideas to try to find like I need to invent a new recipe basically that will also go viral, because the first recipe is going to get old eventually.
Yeah, we're going to get tired of the cookies.
Yeah, you get tired.
You got to make some new. You got to make a new kitchen creation.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
What'd you come up with next?
So then I started experimenting with props. So that's when I introduced props into my photos. That's why you see a lot of photos. I've got glitter, I've got smoke bombs, I've got flower petals. So I realized, by adding that additional piece, photo props, I've got a new recipe. I've added to the recipe. And so it was really important to experiment, but also to improve the quality of my work. Those were two things that I learned myself as a content creator that were, those are more key fundamentals to keeping your account growing, is to experiment so that you can learn new ideas, because ideas get old, and then to level up the ideas that are working so that, again, those don't get old. So
you're working your day job now. Did you go into an office? Like, were you working like 40, 50 hours a week? And then was that kind of like, and then like the rest of the time, were you just completely all in the photography? So like nights and weekends, like it was just,
yeah.
And was it more behind the scenes tinkering and trying to look at analytics, or was it more like out in the public shooting? Like what was the mix, you say, just, ballpark?
The mix was mainly content, because you don't want to get, if you get too in the weeds of like analytics and trying to figure out stuff, then your content production decreases. So you have less output, and that's bad. So the most important thing is content. So you don't want analyzing data and like looking for patterns and trends in your own posts and stuff. You don't want that to take away from the most important thing, which is making content. So yeah, I'd say it's like 90% content, 10% trying to figure out what the hell's working, what's not working. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask next is like, I get that you originally were bored at being an insurance actuary, and I get that. I totally like it makes sense. I'm sure to every listener, like they're getting bored with their job and they need a hobby. You're a young guy, need something to do. At what point though, like photography was the hobby. Gary Vee inspired the social media part. But then what made you obsessed? Was it the analytical mind of the numbers keep going up? Because you don't strike me as the kind of guy that like is like, oh, I got like 15,000 followers on Instagram and people love me. Like was it like, tell me like what fed the beast? You know what I mean? Like, did you have like a end goal in mind of like what I'm going to do with like this new hobby that I'm going to take to the next level?
That's a really good question. Never thought much
That's
about
what I'm
that.
here for, baby. That's why you're on the Big Fish Cares podcast. People don't even know I exist yet, but one day they will, and it'll be this episode.
Let's go. You know, oddly enough, I remember thinking a long time ago that like, and this is funny because my personality doesn't quite jive with this idea, but like I always knew that I would be very well known. So it was kind of like I just knew that in my head. I remember telling someone like this was before I kind of like made it. I'm like, Alex, I'm going to be one of the most well-known photographers, and I just said it so matter of fact and so casually. For some reason, I knew that, and I think I knew that because I knew how hard I was willing to work. I knew how much drive and ambition I had. I knew that I had everything aligned to like really make it really far as a photographer. So it was kind of like it was just written. I just kind of knew that was going to happen, and I don't know. Like part of it was like I think there was a lot of factors that kind of fed that machine of keeping me or kind of like giving me this energy to build something that big, because you don't do that like by accident. You don't do that by just kind of half-assing it. Like it takes everything that you have to gain 20 million followers. Like it takes like all the focus and energy that you have. You really need that to be able to achieve that big of a following. And I think what pushed me was so many different factors. One of them was kind of like, it's almost like a puzzle to me. And I like puzzles. I wanted to figure out how to hack the system. I just wanted, like, it's fun to me. Like my next goal is I want 50 million followers just because it's fun. Like I think it would be absolutely crazy and almost hilarious for me to have 50 million people follow me and be one of the most followed people in the world. Like to me, it's kind of funny because I'm just like, I'm like an actuary. Like I'm just a normal guy.
You're just like according to the rest of the world. You're just like some nerdy guy that sits in the basement and like just processes numbers and analytics all day.
Yeah.
And again, I know you're so much more than that, but again, have you ever seen the movie Office Space? You're probably too young for that movie, but you should watch it.
Yeah.
You should watch it, but it's got like, these guys in suits and they're kind of like, they're funny, but like they're very nerdy. And then like there's this one guy that they just eventually just put in the basement, right? I'm not saying you're him. You're a lot better looking and you're a lot cooler, but that's the mindset, right? It's like, how are you going to be competing with, Logan Paul, right? I saw you actually with Logan Paul at VCon. I'm thinking like, how funny is this? Logan Paul's got his handlers. He's got these ladies that are like keeping everywhere. And there's Alex, my boy Alex Stemp in there doing a personal interview, shooting some content with him, chopping it up. This guy doesn't know. I mean, this guy is not anywhere in Logan Paul's world other than, now he is, because he's got 20 million followers on TikTok. And you know what superstars and celebrities like? They like exposure.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, wow, like you're rubbing shoulders with these people. And I'm sitting here as Ben Fisher, who's like, never even thought about any of this stuff. And I'm like, well, listen, I'm friends with Alex. And now he's friends with all these people. And I'm like, holy cow, like we're like manifesting something. And I think you said it earlier. You just had that desire to like be well known. And I feel like, and you told yourself that you could through photography. And I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. I don't know how much you ever listen to Tony, but he's a big fan of positive affirmations, of telling yourself that you can do things, visualizing it, executing, and then you're just there. I mean, this is real life. We're actually talking about it. Yeah. But I'm sure the journey was, tell us a little bit about once you realized, okay, I'm having more fun doing the Instagram thing. Like, when did you decide you could quit that 6-figure actuary job? Like, did you get any offers, or what made you like hit the switch on switching to this full time?
Yeah, it was kind of a tough choice, I guess, at first, because I didn't know how I was going to make money. I didn't know if I could, it goes back to the programming, like you're programmed to do a career, and like that's how you live your life. It's safe. No one really tells you growing up that like you can make money by not doing that, by doing something else. Like no one really tells you that. especially like the idea of being like doing what you love for a living. Like no one tells you that's possible growing up.
Passion in a profession.
Yeah, that's like not a thing. So I'm like, this is like very unfamiliar. Like there's no book. Right. I mean, maybe there are books written about it now, but it's not like a common thing. So yeah, it was kind of scary. What really helped me push me over the edge was, I'd say, two things. A friend/mentor who was doing it herself. Shout out to Liquid Verve on Instagram. She's one of the people that taught me photography, and she also taught me how I can make money doing photography on social media. So, when I saw that she was able to do it, and when she taught me and showed me how I could do it, it's like, okay, I've kind of got a game plan, bit of a roadmap. And I think I also landed like a sponsored post on TikTok around that time, which was like a $5,000 campaign with Adobe. And so
Tell me how that works.
So, yeah, brand deals, simply a brand will pay you to make content and then post that content, essentially tagging them and giving them free, well, not free, they pay for it, but giving them marketing and exposure. So,
so they approached you?
Yeah, they emailed me. And I landed that deal with Adobe. Am I not?
So do they hold on, I got questions about this, because this is where the businessman, salesman, marketing guy comes out of me and says, so Adobe, they obviously have a team of people that are looking for, I guess influencers is what we call them nowadays. Did they have to DM you to get your email address, or how do they find your email address of, how do they track you down like that? Like a big corporate company like that? Yeah,
you have to put your email in your bio. For any creator that wants brand deals, your email has to be in your bio.
Ooh, tip number one. Guess I'm gonna have to put my email in my bio. Thank you today for that.
Yeah,
because I want to be more like Alex. I just realized when I met you, I was like, wow, if this guy can do it, I'm not saying anybody can do it, because that's not true. Because you got to be consistent, but that's the hard part, consistency. I think for everybody, it's going to be consistent. There's a lot of people that are going to have more charisma, more personality, right? That are not going to be as consistent, right? And you smash those people out of the park. I mean, it's not even close.
I always knew that I was a harder worker than pretty much anyone. I felt more disciplined and more like a harder worker. That was my competitive edge.
Yeah.
Being an actuary, you have to study about 400 hours for one actuary exam, and there's 10 exams. So I spent literally 400 times 10, so 4,000. I spent 4,000 hours studying for these exams that sucked. And I'm like, you know what? If I can dedicate that much time to something so boring, imagine if I did something I kind of like or like a lot.
Absolutely.
I became like a workhorse. I was posting every day, pushing myself, but part of me thinks that you do have to be a little bit crazy to kind of make it to a 20 million follower threshold. I really do think that something needs to be kind of broken, but in a way that makes you more, I guess, functional, or gives you higher potential, because it's not a normal thing to even want 20 million followers. The wire, I don't know what it is, but I feel like you have to be a little bit crazy to even think you could have 20 million followers. Because when I tell that to some people that I coach, they're like, they don't believe that's possible. And in my head, it was I already had it. This goes back to Tony Robbins and manifesting, but I feel something's got to be a little bit wrong with you if you really think you can get 20 million people, you're worthy of 20 million people following you. Come on, it's
that's a lot of button pushes. I mean, even if they're not staying up with you every day, that's a lot of people that hit that button one time. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'd like to make a little big fish diagnosis by listening to your story. I think growing up with two, not just one immigrant parent, two hardworking, it sounds like they were hardworking immigrant parents who came to America and said, we're going to make it. And the only way to make it with immigrants, is to put the work in. So you got to see that modeled. they were all about letting you go for your dreams. They were all about that. You then then combine that with getting into a boring career path, which then pushed you into the opposite way of getting into something so fun and interesting. Combine that with the hardworking parents. And now we have a little recipe for something brewing, and then the analytics, right? And that special trait that you have of analytics, because I'm listening to you, I'm thinking like, wow, this guy's analytical. He can like process that. That's all social media is. That's all website. I mean, that's almost just as important as anything else is being able to diagnose on how to get better yourself, because there's not that many coaches out there that are going to teach you how to get, more followers on Instagram. The books haven't been written yet the way that you're going to be able to write them, because it's kind of trial and error. I consider you a trailblazer in that regard. And that's pretty good, man. That's awesome.
It's a good breakdown.
I don't know. Was that accurate, or is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny how so many different things kind of align to make that.
And then you met that crazy quacky dude, Gary V. You listened to him that one day, right? And like, it's like just a mixture of things that are brewing, right? And then I don't know how you met your friend, Liquid Verve, but I mean, it was probably through a Instagram post or something. Was it maybe on the Explore feed? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you DM her, you got a little bit of street cred now, you got some followers. She was looking to give back. You were looking to do whatever you could to give her value. And now you're starting to brew, man. I feel like the mad concoction, you got this big broiling pot of ingredients, and those are the ingredients that are leading to that success. So Adobe hits you up. You get did they just tell you what they were going to pay you? I mean, cause you don't strike me as the kind of guy with a background of sales and negotiating and things like that. Let's talk about this is interesting stuff. Let's talk about did you just say, I'm assuming you just said, yeah, I'll take it.
I could track the emails because I don't remember, but I'm assuming they just pitched me the price.
Yeah, and you're like, oh wow, this is cool. Someone's gonna give me $5,000 because at that point you never received $1. I'm assuming, right? Maybe something small.
Not from a brand. I was actually coaching. I was coaching some of my followers. They were paying me to kind of teach them social media, teach them Instagram.
Like one-on-one or groups or?
One-on-one.
Wow, okay.
So I was making some money through social media, but that was the first time a brand had ever paid me.
And you're still working at the insurance actuary job at this point still too, okay.
And meanwhile, I failed my first actuary exam. I'd never failed one. I passed.
That's because you're not passionate about it anymore. You're not even focused on it anymore. I feel bad for anything you wrote for those insurance companies back in the day, because I'm thinking this dude's off in photography land, living his dream. And, which is great. So talk to me about how you made the jump, because again, being analytical, I'm assuming, because I know a lot of analytical guys, you can almost analyze yourself out of taking action sometimes, because you're like, okay, well, if I'm making $100,000 a year and if I just quit, I don't know how many more $5,000 Adobe sponsorships are going to be there. When did you just take the plunge and make the jump?
I remember someone telling me when I had, fast forwarding from Instagram to TikTok, I was doing Instagram, had about 10,000 followers, and then Gary V started talking about TikTok. Every single day, Gary V made a new YouTube video where the whole video was exclusively talking about TikTok. And I actually want to go back and find those videos and rewatch them, because those videos are the reason why I joined TikTok. And that was in October 2019. So
right before the pandemic happened in March of 2020.
Yeah. So actually right before. And it's funny, at first I was like, no, this was a long time before. But the reason why I thought it was a long time before the pandemic was because I blew up on TikTok. I gained 1 million followers in my first month on TikTok. So it felt like a lifetime from
So did you abandon Instagram, or did you just how did that work? How did you transition? Because how many followers do you have now on Instagram?
1.3 million.
Now, I don't know if that's, listen, 1.3. Big Fish has 800. If you want to go to bigfish.benny and give your boy a help out, that'd be great. But I'm assuming 1 million is a lot on Instagram as well, right? It's not 20 million on TikTok, but that's a good chunk of change.
1 million's quite a lot on Instagram. Yeah. That's the threshold for having a lot.
Were you still at your job in October 2019 when you opened your TikTok account?
Yes.
Okay, so but you're really hating it. I gotta imagine, like, you're like, man, this sucks. Like, this is the worst thing ever. Could you even stay focused at your job? I mean, like
no, I was working. I was not producing I would get my work done, but like, there was no love. There was no nothing behind it, man. And
whoever your manager or boss was, if they're listening to this podcast, they can go ahead and send your boy Alex an invoice now for all that off work that he was there, but he wasn't really there, because now he's got the money to pay you. So like,
I was on my phone a lot. Like, I was like posting on my Instagram during working hours. Like, I kind of just like, I got sloppy at the end. I'm like, I don't like this job. I'm just gonna,
So you didn't have an assistant? You didn't hire anybody yet? I mean, you didn't have a team behind you? Like, there's no magic behind. Like, this is a real story, right? Like, there's no movie magic behind this. You were doing your own stuff. You were making your own edits. You were actually the one that actually clicks the post button and did it consistently. I know I struggle with posting. I wish that I could find somebody to just get all my logins and just take my content and just post it for me, because, like, to me, it's like exhausting. It's exhausting.
Yeah, right. It is.
So tell me, how'd you get your first 1 million followers on TikTok? What month? So you opened the account in October. By when did you have the 1 million?
So October 2019, Gary Vee makes like 3 separate YouTube videos about TikTok. First video, I don't listen to him. Second video, I don't listen to him. Third video, I'm like, wow, this guy will not shut up about this TikTok thing. I am going to feel like such an idiot if I don't do this. And then months from now, like, I'm like an idiot for it. So I download the app. I remember downloading it and being super confused because I'd never seen an app like that. It was vertical videos. And, Instagram is mainly photos. So that was the first weird thing about it, was videos. The second was like the videos took up the whole vertical screen. And then I was just like, I don't know what the hell to do on this. So I didn't post anything in the month of October. And then in November, I think I was like, Alex, it's now November and you haven't done anything. Like, get on it. Like, treat this as if this was Instagram when you started and you just committed and you posted like consistently on it. Do that. And so my very first TikTok post was actually, this is how I guess a photographer makes a video. It wasn't even technically a video, it was a slideshow of photos. So it was like one photo after another.
Yeah.
That was like
I've done that before.
Video.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know how to make a video yet. It was literally like when a photographer tries to make a video, they just put a bunch of photos one after the other.
That could be a show. That's a show idea. When a photographer tries to be a video guy.
Yeah. So that was my first TikTok, and just like on Instagram, the one thing I had going for me was I was going to be consistent. Now TikTok is it's a miraculous app, and it changed my life because I remember like my 7th video, I hit 10,000 views. And the funny thing about TikTok now is when people make a new TikTok account and they get 10,000 views or 3,000 views, they're like not satisfied. They're like sad or something.
No, listen, I just hit 10,000 views on a reel on Instagram the other day, and I'm just like, I don't know. That's after I hit 3,000 and 5,000 on some of my VCon content, and then I was talking to the guy that does my edits. He's like, bro, dude, you just hit 10,000. Like, you haven't even been at this like a month of like posting like, cool content. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm an overachiever, man. I want more.
Right. I mean, that's the funny thing is like everyone's kind of like so dissatisfied with the number that high. And for me, the level of excitement I felt when I got 10,000 views on my TikTok, I went on my Instagram story and I still have the videos archived from that day where I was like, guys, I just went viral on TikTok. And I was telling from that day on forward, I was like preaching like Gary Vee, like get on TikTok, get on TikTok. So I've been telling people for 3 years now to get on TikTok and start posting content. And I feel like people are finally starting to listen. But I knew TikTok was special that day when I hit 10,000 views because I only had like 100 followers. Now, if you do the math there, you'll realize that something's up with this app. You have 100 people follow you. So if you draw a circle, that's like, let's say 100 people looks like this. And when you
the inner circle.
Video, you reach 10,000 people.
Yeah, it's like the solar system.
Yeah, like what the, like I couldn't even fathom like 10,000 people. That was insane to me. And so
what was the video of?
It was actually the first time I posted a video of me approaching a stranger to give them a photo shoot. This is like literally what I'm known for. That's
exactly. And again, we're into this podcast 40 minutes. And if you don't know by now, this is the guy. And again, when I told my friends, especially not any of my guy friends, mostly my girlfriend, the friends that are females in this world, I said, I'm friends with, he's the guy that follows people around and like just randomly takes their picture. I was like, yeah, you know him? He's like, yeah, I've been following. I'm like, what? Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. And I'm like, that's your, like that, I say like, that was a stick, now he has to change it up because lots of other people have been copying and imitating him and now he's onto something else. But at the end of the day, you found that little niche that you mixed your photography with that third person video. And then, did you use the TikTok editing features in there to like edit, or did you edit behind the scenes and then just post?
So I edited my first like viral video with actually all of my first videos, even the very first one with the GoPro app, the GoPro editing app. It's called Quick. Cool. No idea why the hell I even had that on my phone. I don't have a GoPro. I think I Googled like video editing app.
Yeah, because that TikTok thing is hard. When you first get it, you're like, what is this? This is like foreign. Yeah. It's like, I feel like you got to hand it over to a 13-year-old and they say, hey, show me how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a learning curve for sure. The app I had, which was free, was actually pretty easy. So, it's a basic app. You just like select all the video clips and then it literally makes it for you, like chops it up for you. It's, it does okay for like a free app that makes your video automatically. But
so did you use like copy and hashtags? And then let me ask you this: Did you get any help from your Instagram followers to kind of push that a little bit and cheat it a little bit, or did you like no?
No, definitely not. People don't really. It's hard to get people to go across platform. I only had 10,000 Instagram followers at the time, and
oh, okay. I didn't know that either. All right. So that's good to know. So at the time, he was still just kind of grinding out 10,000 followers on Instagram. Then he hits TikTok in November, gets a 7th video to go viral. We'll call that viral, right? Or not? Or like just 10,000 views isn't viral. I guess it's just kind of like, it's your first 5-digit number, right?
Yeah.
What happened? So when did you get to 100,000 views on a video? What was that day like?
I skipped that, and then the next time I went viral, I had 1 million, I think. Actually, no. The next time, so a lot happened that day. I got 10,000 views, and then I'm like, Gary Vee was right. Or at least it appears that he may have been right about this.
We're not going to give the guy credit yet. Hold on. Yeah. That's the actuary, and I'm saying, let me analyze the data a little bit more to see if he's actually good, or am I good, or what's going on.
Yeah. I have like, as an actuary, and I don't know if this is related to being an actuary, but I have a very strong visual memory. And I remember, I still have the picture in my head of seeing that 10.1K, like on the, TikTok, you see the thumbnail and you see how many, I remember seeing 10.1K and my mind exploded.
Did you screenshot it by chance?
I do. I have some.
Well, listen, here's what I want you to do, because this, you owe your boy a favor now. You're going to screenshot that. You're going to create an NFT and you're going to airdrop it to me. I want that. I want you to NFT that to me personally. I'm going to keep that in my wallet forever.
Yeah, you remind me, and I'll do that.
There you go. I like it. Ooh, Big Fish got an airdrop coming. We don't even have time to talk about NFTs today. We're going to have him back for the NFT episode. We're going to keep going with Alex Stemp and his success on how he went from insurance actuary to Instagram kind of hobbyist to then full-blown TikTok.
Yeah.
And so COVID's right around the corner. Pandemic's coming. You probably don't know it yet. You're in California. You're still working at your job though, correct?
Right. Yes. So
tell me what happened next. This is good.
Yeah. So 30 days after my first TikTok, I had 1 million followers. Isn't that insane?
Like not just viewers watching videos, like followers.
Yeah, followers.
And was it all the same thing of you like photographing people like in California somewhere, either on the beach or like doing stuff? Because I've seen some of your stuff.
I was in San Francisco. Everything was in San Francisco downtown.
Okay.
So actually,
San Francisco downtown. All right.
Yeah. So when I got that 10,000 view video, I'm like, you know, my Instagram methodology of like, okay, repeat what works. You know, I started thinking like that. I'm like, okay, this video blew up, so let me do another one of these videos where I approach someone, I give them a photo shoot. So me and my friend.
That's all real too, correct? By the way, like that's all like authentic. That wasn't ever pre-set up ahead of time.
Yeah, the OG videos, 100% authentic. Now it's probably like more like 90%.
Yeah, because now people want you to do it for them, right? And you're probably like, okay, let's try it.
I'll stage them here and there. It's just, it is what it is. Everyone's doing it, but like the majority of it's authentic. You can usually tell when it's not. I kind of make it ridiculous, like the Liam Payne, like going to his hotel.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, all your new celebrity friends that you have now.
Right.
Baller.
So, yeah, so I had 1 million followers 30 days in. 60 days in, I had 2 million followers. 90 days in, I had 3 million followers. So every month, I was gaining 1 million followers. And when I hit the 3 million mark, I remember someone basically telling me like, look, Alex, if you still have your day job, like, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Like, you're stupid. You're being an idiot. I'm like, all right, you know what?
Who told you that?
It was another photographer who was like, he was doing some big things. And I was like, you know what? A lot of people have told me this. For some reason, when he said it is when it really struck me. And then I also thought in the back of my mind, like, I'm gaining 1 million followers every month. And I'm tied up for 40 hours a week. Plus,
I'm not even trying that hard.
Yeah, plus studying for these stupid exams. So I'm like, what if I had all that time to just make more videos? I can grow even faster. So that was another incentive. I'm like, I'm going to quit my job because I can produce way more content if I do that. And plus, everyone's telling me like I'm going to make it. I've got 3 million followers. So it's kind of like I'll
did
trust
you at that time make any money with TikTok, or were you monetizing it at all? Like, talk to us about the business side of it.
Yeah, at this point, that's when I had my $5,000 deal. So the first deal, I'm like, you know what, this will keep me going for a little bit. Plus, you know,
this guy just get 6 figures. That's like, you know, $8,000-9,000 a month. He's like, I'll take that $5,000 because he's probably saving money because he's out busy working. You're probably not even spending any money because you're so busy photographing people.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't doing anything other than photographing people. And dude, I kind of like, and this goes back to like, you got to be crazy to hit 20 million followers. Like I didn't contact my friends for a full year. I didn't go out a single time.
Well, you got to remember COVID was happening right at the same time. So
this was before COVID. All of this still was before COVID.
All right.
I didn't see my friends for a year. I didn't go on a date. I didn't have a drink. I would go home after work, and from 9 to 5, I'm an actuary. From 5 to 9, I'm a photographer. And it was, you know, the weekends were just more time for me to do stuff. And I didn't do anything but work if I had free time.
So that reminds me of our buddy Gary, who just worked, 6 in till 2 in at his dad's wine shop.
Yeah, it was a grind.
See where we're going with this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, tell me when you got the next big. Tell me, does TikTok ever just give you sponsor money just because they weren't really into ads back then yet, right? So or were they?
TikTok doesn't pay. TikTok doesn't really pay there. So technically they do through the creator fund. So almost every platform has like a pool of money that they use to distribute to people who are getting, views. So it's kind of like you get paid per view, but the pay is awful.
Yeah.
If you get 4 million views, you probably get like $100. So it's really not that good.
So that's, yeah. So you can, the only way to really monetize on that is getting somebody like Adobe or a sponsor or somebody like that to put some product placement in, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly.
When was your first, what was your first deal that after Adobe?
Actually with a tripod company called Joby Tripod, which was great because I was already using that product and I was already using Adobe. So it was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's authentic. It fits. And again, at the same time, you probably don't have a whole lot of business negotiating, you're probably like, all right, I'll take it. Like you'll just keep taking it. Right. So when was the next big break? What's the next thing? Cause we only got about 10 or 15 minutes left, but I could go on this story for a while. How do we get from that point to where we're at now, to where I see you, you're over at Liam Payne's house, you're hanging out with Logan Paul. Like, so half the people you're hanging out with, I don't even know, cause I feel like I'm so old. I don't even know some of these people, but tell us about that journey from 2020 to now.
Yeah. So, quite a lot happened. Actually, when I quit my job was when the pandemic hit. So I literally quit my job to take pictures of random strangers for a living. And then the whole entire world just goes on lockdown. So I'm like, oh shit, this is really bad timing.
Yeah, because you're not gonna be able to find random strangers at the park anymore.
Exactly, dude. Like you literally, it was when you couldn't even go outside. You weren't allowed to go outside. And I'm like, I just quit my job to go make content outside with random people. I can't go outside. No one else can go outside. I had never resisted something so hard in my life than COVID. I'm like, this can't be real. This can't be happening. No. This is going to get fixed. This is not happening. This is not happening. Cause I just quit my job to like pursue this amazing opportunity. And suddenly the whole entire world shuts down. I'm like, what this timing is just, this can't be happening. What am I going to do? So, it was a struggle. I ended up coming with a really creative series, called, it was me photographing essential workers. So back when COVID started, the only people that were allowed to work were like essential workers. So those essential workers were always wearing masks. And then I decided to honor them with a photo shoot series. So whenever I went out to do an essential task, I would bring my camera, because that was the only time you were allowed to be outside, was if it was essential. So anytime I would go do something essential, I'd bring my camera and I'd photograph the workers that were out, and I would honor them with a photo shoot. And that became really popular. It was a really creative way to create content when the whole world was shut down. So that kind of like, because I got desperate, I came up with something pretty creative. So yeah, that got me through the pandemic. And then from there on out, it was just a matter of continuing to apply all of the fundamentals that I learned created success for myself, which was the experimentation, trying new things, the leveling up, always improve your stuff, content and value, the two things that Gary Vee taught me. All those four things, I'm just continuing to apply all of those. I'm making videos still, providing value, helping more people. I'm trying out new concepts, and I'm trying to level things up. I'm trying to always improve my content. And, just by doing those four like mindsets together, carried me to 20 million.
So two things I want to ask you. And again, you can get as detailed if you want, and you could tell me big fish, that's none of your business. But what was the biggest brand deal that you've ever done? Like, who was the brand, and like, how awesome was it? Like, how excited were you about it?
Yeah. So let's see here.
Give something to the viewers and listeners at home to like see, because now that we've heard like the whole story, it's like, all right, tell them like what's like the first brand. And then the next question I'm going to ask is, when you met your first celebrity, somebody that you really looked up to, and you had the opportunity to meet him because of your fame now on TikTok. So let's go first with the brand deal.
Yeah, so I want to actually tell you the brand, so that way I can give you some more details around like the amounts.
Okay, that's fine. I like that.
If I tell you,
I guess either one's probably good, but we'll go with the amounts first, and then maybe 2 years from now, we'll figure out what brand it was.
Yeah, exactly. I think the amount's more interesting than me telling you.
Absolutely.
I'll give you a list of notable brands I've worked with, and then I'll just give you like what my
ballpark figures. Listen, I mean, I just think people are going to find it interesting.
Right. So the best deal I closed was actually a 12-month retainer. And I highly suggest content creators look for these long-term partnerships, because it looks much better for the brand and for you to be doing something long-term rather than just like doing these one-off posts, because it shows you actually really believe it's an actual partnership. Whereas when you do these one-off posts, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like Big Fish Benny like talked about G Fuel once last September. But if Big Fish Benny is drinking G Fuel every single month for 12 months, it's like, wow, I think I think Big Fish Benny actually likes G Fuel. Like, whereas if you do things once, it's like your followers are like,
you're a flash in the pan.
Yeah. So the long-term partnerships, I feel like, are more effective for the brand. So I think they're actually better for them to do these longer-term partnerships with creators. But also, as a creator, it's better to know that you're going to have 12 months of brand deal cash flow from this brand, rather than just having 1 month, and then the next month you got to find a different brand, and then the next month you got to find another brand. It's like guaranteed cash flow.
It's like recurring revenue. It's kind of like what the insurance business loves, that recurring annual premium, right? And it's like, I'm starting to see how all the dots get connected now. So what do you have to, like, you don't have to name the brand. You don't have to say, like, what is there like a contract and saying like, oh, so many videos, you have to put my stuff in it. And then you like, put some hashtags in, you tag them, and is it as simple as that? And they just pay you?
Yeah, I mean, the most, I guess, so I left out that I did hire a management team to negotiate for me, because like you said, not a negotiator, not a sales guy, and not really even technically like a business guy. I'm more of like a creator. So I hired a management team. What they do is they negotiate the price, and once the price is agreed upon, the brand will draft a contract that has all the fine print. My management team will review the contract to make sure that they're not trying to screw me, because brands can find ways to screw creators.
Yeah, they got way more lawyers than you do.
Yeah, so, you have to have your team and their lawyer review the contract. If it all looks good, sign the contract, and now you're ready to actually produce the deliverable for the brand, which is whatever idea you guys agree upon between the creator and the brand. And then you post the video on your channel and you tag the brand. So simple as that.
And like you just agree to so many deliverables, right? And then that's it. And then your management company sends them an invoice. They pay you. You go for 12 months, and then you guys determine whether it's a good fit for another year. And you just kind of keep on doing that. So that's really cool. Can you give us give us like a cool, like what a contract looks like? 12 months, 100 grand, 200 grand, $10, $1 million. Like what can these guys out here make if they do a good job like you?
So I think I had 12 million followers. Let's say 10, because it was either 8 or 12. I know it's two very different numbers.
We'll underestimate,
Yeah, 10 million followers at the time. Signed a 12-month deal, so it's actually coming to an end. This was last July, and it was a multiple 6-figure deal. So in between 6 and 7 figures.
So that replaced the insurance actuary job.
Yeah,
like right away, just one deal.
One deal, yeah. Multiple.
That's awesome.
And years of annual income.
What's the odds that they re-up and do another year with you?
We'll see.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Do they
give you feedback? Like, how do you know what success looks like as an influencer? Like, do you know what they were hoping to achieve, like with that contract? Did they have an idea like what the outcome was? I mean, like, I know you can't guarantee them results, but how does that look?
Yeah, so with a deal like that, that's kind of like higher profile, more involved. They will actually create these objective criteria for, I guess, like what they would consider a success. So, I mean, you can measure that by like how many views did Alex get through the 12-month deal? What were the percentage of positive sentiment comments versus negative sentiment? How was what was the qualitative response from Alex's audience? Did they, I don't know, they find ways to kind of measure how good my content did for them. And then I guess they'll use that to evaluate if they want to do another 12 months or whatever it is.
And do they give you feedback, like, month to month on like how well like they're happy with you? And I'm assuming you could probably ask them all the time. I would, if I were you. I'd be like, what can I do to be better?
Yeah. I think a lot of that's communicated with between my management team and them.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, that keeps, that lets you keep creating and doing what you're best at, and letting the team kind of work all that stuff out. Because I know as a business guy, sometimes it is like trying to wear two hats at the same time, and it gets kind of like, it's just not that fun. It takes some of the fun out of it.
For sure.
I'm working on a deal right now with somebody, and it's just like, all right, I want to get through that part so I can just go start having fun and like doing something cool. That's really, really interesting. I'm glad that you shared that you were open enough to kind of share that process, because I feel like it'll inspire a lot of people out there now that are actually wanting to see if, this social media thing's for real or not, and not just some pipe dream. But it goes to show that you're just, a regular guy, that's obviously got a lot of cool ingredients working for him. I mean, let's just say that, immigrant family, hard worker, passion turned into a profession, boring job that like wanted to run as far away from that into something really cool and fun. So you have an interesting story. I feel like you're able to do all that. What about, when's the first time that like, when you said you were going to be famous, like it's one thing to be famous, like virtually, and like no one ever really like get to like, like you're just famous from a cell phone, like you're just famous from a phone. And it's like, all right, but like, when did you start hitting the red carpet events? Like when you start getting some action, like who was your first person that reached out and said, what's up? Like that people would know.
That's a good question. I would say what kind of catapulted me into more of that, like, I guess, like, I don't know, red carpet
we'll call it mainstream. Yeah, well, mainstream.
Yeah. I think it was when Jared Leto wanted to collaborate. So he actually chose me and 3 other creators. So he knew who he wanted to work with, and I was one of them. And yeah, he hired me to help him promote Morbius, the film. And that was great. Like, that's definitely the most famous person I've ever worked with. And then that kind of catapulted a series of celebrity photo shoots. So shortly after that, I met up with Nick Cannon, because Nick Cannon liked the Jared Leto video. And then after that at VCon, I was able to shoot with Liam Payne, because I could show Liam Payne now that I've made Jared Leto and Nick Cannon both go viral on TikTok. So Jared Leto, 20 million view video, Nick Cannon, 10 million view video. It's like, it's pretty easy. Like, hey, do you want free exposure from millions of people and some cool photos? I've already done it with these celebrities. So now I've got a celebrity series going that I'm looking to keep it going.
Yeah, and then I'm sure your management team, same thing. They work out those deals with their agents and your agents, and then you guys just get to go have fun, right? Because then it's just the fun part. It's like, I'm assuming all that gets worked out behind the scenes. You just get to show up, and it's just like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? This is what we're going to do. Let's do it right. And now you've formed relationships. I have no idea what you were doing with Logan Paul at VCon, but I can't wait to see, I don't know if that's out yet. I don't know if it's going to be on his page, your page. How does that stuff work? Like when you produce content for another celebrity or influencer, because you're I look at you're like the machinist, like you're the one that's got the algorithms, you got the following, you're like the surgeon. Okay. And you can basically just throw gas on their already lit fire. Cause these guys are famous in their own right.
Right.
Not from technically social media, from like whatever their career is, acting, fighting, whatever these people do. And then you mix that with what you're really good at. And it's like a recipe for success. I forget where I was going with that, but where was I going with that? I just brain farted. Like literally like in the middle of that thought, because I was like so excited. I was like, oh, so what do? Do they post it on theirs and then try to like make their content go good just with your stuff and you don't really get much credit? Or do you post it on yours and then tag them and you guys both get credit? Like, and it's like both goes big for both of you.
So it all depends, really. Like the main thing that always happens is that I post it on my channel, because that's essentially what the trade is. It's like I get to use their likeness to amplify my content, and what they get from me is they get social media exposure. So I always post the content, and then they can decide if they want to. I don't really need them to, because it would help me, because other celebrities might notice, and then I can potentially work with other celebrities that saw me from their page. But like, I don't know. I already I've got a lot of followers.
Yeah.
And the cross.
And what's the ultimate goal with this? Again, you got into this really as a hobby. we never really had, it's more of like I don't know, a good healthy addiction, I'll call it. To be like, get more numbers. All right, cool. Like, I got a brand deal. Oh, I got some celebrities. And I'm sure early on right now in your career, it's a lot of, hey, I'm going to trade. You do this for me. I'm going to do this for you. I got some money coming in. Like, when are you actually going to take it like to the next level? Like, what is your ultimate goal? Cause I mean, you're still just, you live way below your means. You're a simple guy. I know you're down to earth. It's not like you're living in like these big $100 million mansions and stuff like that. So what's your end goal?
I don't have one. I mean, I know some cool things that I want to do. I want my own Netflix or Hulu show. So I want
About what?
I've got this idea of. Have you seen a show Queer Eye for the straight eye?
For the straight eye. No, I mean, I feel like I've heard of it. Like, is it like a spinoff of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy?
That's what I meant to say. It's Queer Eye for the straight guy.
No, like, I mean, I've heard of it. Is it a fashion show?
No, so it's
See, I don't even know. I don't watch TV.
The idea behind the show is really cool. So they find a complete not a stranger. They find someone who is in desperate need of like help in their life. So they don't know how to dress themselves.
It's like a makeover.
It's a life makeover.
Okay.
Because they might also just not be good with relationships. They might have some like mental.
Gotcha. So that it's
secure.
It's dimensional. So like it's all areas. It's like finance, career, family life, just full blown makeover everywhere.
Yeah. And so for each of those categories, there's one guy, and they're all gay men that are like leading the show, and they're hilarious. And so there's like a guy that will do the clothing transformation. There's a guy who will teach them how to cook.
Okay, I got you.
Handle their mindset. And I'm like, I love this show because, my content has the same like uplifting feel. Like I want to kind of make someone feel better about themselves with my photo shoot. And I want that to translate to the people that watch the video. And after watching that show, I'm like, you know what? I love this concept, but what I want to do is I want to apply that to a complete stranger. So on their show, they field a bunch of people. They find
application.
Yeah. With mine, I want to literally run up on a complete stranger and give them a transformative life makeover that they didn't even see coming. And the show is like discovering who that person is because they're obviously a stranger. I don't know anything about them. So I've got to learn who they are, what they're all about. And then we take them. And then there's the whole aspect of like finding a stranger that's willing to agree. That's like a fun thing to watch, So yeah, I don't think there's any TV shows that incorporate the aspect of like interacting with strangers, which is why people love my content. I'm interacting with random people. There's no TV show that I've seen that does that. So I want to be the first one to create a TV show where it's about uplifting random strangers.
Yeah, usually it's like I don't know the prankster one, like the Impossible Jokesters or whatever those guys are. I think some of that stuff. Right, some of that stuff seems like it's also staged, But then sometimes when you see the blurry faces, then you're like, oh no, that's not staged, because then they had the blurry faces. They didn't sign the waiver at the end. Right. Now, would you do this all by yourself, or would you have like a team, kind of like the gay guys do, and like have like a team?
I need a team, and I might be okay with not even being in the show.
Or you just want to film it and kind of like produce it and kind of like and market it.
Yeah.
Because you'll be able to market it on your TikTok.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I would listen. I think that I feel like my experience with growing a business and dealing with lots of humans, and, I've been in lots of therapy myself, and I do lots of assessments on new hires and stuff like that. I understand a lot about emotional intelligence. And then I also, between the two of us, I feel like we would be able to we've got a network that we're forming, especially now, right? Since we're out and now we're meeting people all over the country through this NFT space. We never even had a chance to cover that. So you're going to come back on the show. We're going to talk NFTs and VFriends one day, right?
Let's do it. I'm down too.
But I always ask people 5 questions. We'll wrap up the show with this. So you're going to an island. You're completely by yourself. Nobody's with you. What book are you going to take with you?
The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
I got that book back there on my bookcase. That's awesome.
That's the only book I feel like I'd need.
That's a great book, because that book is, that's awesome. Give me a movie that you're going to take with you. Remember, you're stuck here for a long time. You got one movie. What are you going to watch over and over again?
Movie, let's see. I would probably have to choose probably an animated movie, because those are like really lighthearted. I probably need some cheering up. But what's a good animated movie? You know what? I'm actually gonna go Dumb and Dumber, just because that's probably my favorite.
Listen, man, that movie never gets old. I've watched that movie probably 100 times.
Yeah, it doesn't get old.
No, and my dad loves that movie. My family, we make a lot of jokes about that movie still to this day. I mean, I remember going to the theater when I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13 years old. That's how old I am. That movie probably came out in like the early 90s, like 93, 94. That was awesome. All right. So that was your book. That was your movie. All right. You're going to have a restaurant put on your island. What is your favorite restaurant that you're going to put on your island? It could be something well known. It could be something like hole in the wall, but nobody would know. You pick. It's your show and your restaurant.
I'll probably go with Chipotle.
Oh, wow. Look, there's a brand deal smoking in there, I think. That was a little subtle hint. You have to go. Listen, I want you to, now that we've done this probably won't be out for a few weeks. Go to Chipotle, make a TikTok about it. This will come out. We'll manifest it. And Alex I feel like that brand needs a little help on their TikTok anyway, so it's good. What do you like, the big burritos? Or you like the bowls or what?
See, that's the thing with Chipotle is depending on your mood, you can change it up. So, like, normally I'm a burrito guy, but, if I'm on an island, I could do a salad one day. I could just...
Yeah, just eat the chips and the salsa. Good for you. All right. All right. So you're allowed to leave the island and go on vacation. What place are you going to go to? You get to go to one place. That's it. Where are you going to go?
Probably San Diego, California.
There you go. So a little bit further south than your homeland.
Yeah, it's more quiet. I like
and the temperature is like room temperature, like all year round.
Yeah.
San Francisco probably gets a little cooler, right?
I don't like San Francisco.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you.
Too many hills.
Is your parents still living over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And last question: you could spend all day with one human. Who are you flying to the island with?
My girlfriend, Jess.
Jess. I met her. She's a sweetheart, man.
Yeah.
She's the person. She's on the other end of the camera, right? That we don't see, right? That she films you, because you still to this day don't actually have a full-fledged team following you around, right? Like you're still doing this stuff yourself, right?
Yeah, she's my D-Rock, I guess.
That's awesome. Well, everybody needs a D-Rock. I filmed my last episode with my D-Rock, Cody Dalsky. You got to meet him at VCon. We want to do a lot more stuff with you too. So Cody was very impressed with you. He's like, Alex? I'm like, yeah, I know Alex. So we're Hangout Hawks, buddy. Hangout Hawks. All right, buddy. I really appreciate the time today, and we'll have you back on. What's the best? I guess you probably don't need any introduction or a place for people to follow you at, but if they were going to follow you or message you or reach out to you, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you or talk to you?
Find me on Twitter, because on Twitter, we can actually chat on Spaces. So if anyone heard this and wants more advice, follow me on Twitter, because I go live on Spaces there, and you can find me there.
Hey, look, I'm doing another episode right now with David Matheny, and did you see him pop in?
Yeah, I saw him for a sec.
Do you know who he is?
No, I'm not sure, actually.
So Danger Dave is in the NFT space, and my podcast with him is we're filming this at 8 o'clock. I'm doing back-to-back ones, so just let the cat out of the bag. But thanks again, Alex. I really appreciate you being here, and we're going to have him back on soon. So thanks.
Good stuff. Yeah, can't wait, man. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Big Fish Cares podcast.